additional enemies. Oh my god, data pad. Goodness, data. Can I not break it? How am I setting onslaughts with mins? I think the energy acceleration shockwave stuns them. I think that's what's happening. Hello guys. What would you recommend for someone trying to find a group for contest? I mean, you can try to look in low man LFG. That's probably like the biggest LFG of like people. We Oh my god. I'm about to fall asleep, bro. I'm about to fall asleep. I'm so sleepy, bro. I'm about to fall. Yo, that's not fair. It's not. Dude, I thought that was not gonna kill me. Oh, maybe I shouldn't kill him. Kill him. Some ads. In case. Just in case I summon. Ow! Okay, surely that's enough ads. Please give me tier 5s. Thank you. Those are tier 4s, buddy. I don't like this game anymore. I don't want to play this game. I just want my Smork armor. I just want my Smork. Wow. That's great. If that was a tier 5, I would be done. Thanks, game. Oh my god. I don't like this. I don't like this game. I don't like this game. So what do I do? Maybe I should just wait until tomorrow to get my Smork armor, bro. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just wait until tomorrow. See if it's Smork. Fine, I'll just make my loadouts now. That's make my loadouts now. Shit. Okay. Maybe I should just make them all from scratch, bro. I don't want to do this. Oh my god. Yeah, I'll just. Oh. Ho ho ho. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas indeed. Merry Christmas, guys. So fire, bro.
So can I can get tier 5 smoke jumper armor, right? Go farm what? Reclaim? Reclaim? I don't know what that is. Oh, this thing? Wait, so what? Do we do it on ultimate? Wait, so I can do match made ultimate, but I can't customize. What? Requires 451. What? Requires 451. But why does it let me match make it? Okay. It's because you suck? Well, we've been knowing that. That's not a secret.
This was shot in front of a live studio audience at twitch.tv/Sweatsicle.
Okay, so I don't think I can get up to 451 yet. I am 1 point away. Okay, well, I'll just click match make, I guess. I'm not doing Caldera. Well, I just need a 451 helmet, class item, or heavy. So I have a 3 out of 8 chance. Unless you guys think Caldera would be better, dude. What? This is better if you're fast? Well, I'm not going very fast right now. Hey, why is he shielded, bro? Grow up. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even remember what this activity is. How do I get this guy to unshield? Hello? This guy's just chasing me. Throw a ball at him? Bitch. It only does a third? Bruh. Oh. Okay, can we just regularly shoot him? We can. I thought we would have to use the pikes. Let's just do that. Let's just... Oh! Ah! He looks miserable? Bro. I just want to cry. I just want to cry. I just want to cry. Just killed a fucking tank for 36 points, bro. Fuck yeah. I really do not understand this activity at all. Don't you love nostalgia bait activities? I guess? I don't even know how this is nostalgia bait. There's no snow on the ground. They literally just took this area and pretended it was the Plague Lands. Wish I had a desire to play this game. The only reason I'm on grinding armor is because of the raid Saturday. That's it. I can't even get in there. Is fucking grounded on or something, bro? Why am I getting cooked so hard? Other than being 50 power under. Can't even look at all the modifiers. Okay. Wait, is it not done?
Dino dance, Dino dance.
What of wolves? Thanks for the 3 months, bro. Dons, 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 dons. Oh. Yeah, that guy hurts. Brother.
Aerial reconnaissance shows that Maya has consolidated their hold over the area. Let's begin chipping away, shall we?
Stay on the move. Hear Maya's voice. Run. on.
Every time I get Golden Age tech in the lab, it seems familiar. Like my hands remember it.
For generations, the Dreaming City housed one of the Awoken's most closely guarded secrets. She is known as Riven. Riven of 1,000 Voices. The last known Ahamkara. She has been taken, and her death is your calling. For generations, the Dreaming City housed one of the Awoken's most closely guarded secrets. She is known as Riven. Riven of 1,000 Voices. The last known Ahamkara. She has been taken, and her death is your calling.
$20? These kinds of games are made to be insanely frustrating. Why do y'all want me to play that?
It's called baby steps. All right, we're back at the. You're saying directly north.
Guardian down. Guardian down.
For generations, the Dreaming City housed one of the Awoken's most closely guarded secrets. She is known as Riven. Riven of 1,000 Voices. The last known Ahamkara. She has been taken, and her death is your calling.
up and Siva's gone, it'll be a gold rush. Let's get what we can while we can. while we can.
like individuals. But in the field, they all follow orders like usual.
Guardian, we've picked up a high-gain transmission. Origin point is somewhere along the coast, near the Cosmodrome.
That's Rasputin, the AI Warmind. If I'm understanding him correctly, it's a distress call. There are so few ballet fans left, Guardian. It'd be a shame to lose him. That's Rasputin, the AI Warmind. If I'm understanding him correctly, it's a distress call. There are so few ballet fans left, Guardian. It'd be a shame to lose him.
Yeah, I'm kind of wishing I did this grind like while the stuff was broken. Okay, Banner of War, please. So I don't have any special. Oh shit, I'm dead. I'm alive, I'm dead. Fuck! What in the fuck? You have to shoot these in a certain order? Okay.
Blinding scout rifle gameplay. Kill. Blind initiate. Weaken initiate. Blind initiate. Blind initiate. Blind initiate. Get in the picture. Get in the picture. Let's include some orange bars in a champion. Blind and weaken initiate. Kinetic tremors initiate. Blind and again. Disorient and blast. Blind initiate. Blind initiate and debuff explosion. Weaken. Now let's go against some shields. Take down the shield. Disorient and blast. There we go. Blinded. Another blind initiate. Double blind. Double blind on these shields. Now weakened. All these ultras are now weakened to the damage. With the overwhelming amount of blind in this kit. So yeah, you can see there on the VIPs, works nice on shielded. The oversight portion of the video show going over the support utility chromatic fire style. The video the VIPs works nice on shielded. The oversight portion of the video show going over the support utility chromatic fire style build. I want you to get your hype points out, get them spent, get them used. I want you to like, hype, share, like, teleport, exfoliate, all in those orders. That's what I want you to do today. So this is based, like I say, on this chromatic fire. It's a kinetic weapon style build, revolving round, force memorializer. It is a Pinnacle Ops scout rifle, and it drops with the trait Bewildering Burst, which gives you a disorient and blast for every single ad kill when you reload. It's a refreshable trait. This is like a blind and grenade launcher, but in scout rifle format. You pair that with kinetic tremors for extra damage, because it will lack damage if you don't. If you use ancillary ordnance, it's not good enough as a trait, and this trait would need a buff. In my opinion, kinetic tremors is better than this one. I hope you understand it. Pairing that with the TechSec 2-piece and 4-piece for massive kinetic damage to overshields and the disorient and blast shockwave. So you're going to get double blind through this. Double blinding. Not only are you going to get double blind, you're going to get kinetic tremors to proc. You're then going to get weaken on top of it, because on the chromatic fire, we're going to include the weaken portion of it, which you can build into it various ways depending on the super that you choose. But I want the weaken portion of it because I've already got blind. I could scorch, which is nice, but weaken's better than the scorch, so I wanted to go with the weaken. And for this, here's the armor mods. I won't go into it too much because there'll be a dim link anyways, and I'll be testing this build out in a -40 solo GM Delta environment with the blind and nade scout rifle, or the blind and scout, right? So yeah, it's going to do massive amounts of damage that way. Artifact mods, what's important? Shield Crush, Freddy Blast, Elemental Daze. Energy Acceleration doesn't work with Bewilder and Blast, so it just doesn't work. You need micro missiles for that. That one does, that Fresh Bullets does for the damage bump or whatever. Picking up an ammo brick gives your kinetic weapons increased damage. I believe it does work with it, because it's counted as a kinetic weapon. Although you can't pick primary ammo, but you get the point. Discount on scarves, barriers, scout rifle.
Now, this 2025 is shaping up to be a hell of a year for video games. We're talking about games bringing some of the most compelling the mesos that will fit your budget, and has one of the best parts and labor. Shout out to StarForge for sponsoring today's video.
Since Ash and Iron, we've covered a lot of major changes that came with this update, from Stern being broken, to lightweight sword glitch, to all our pre and post testings. Which brings us to one of the weapons in that video that we said we'd be looking at more in depth, and that is Mida Multi-Tool. This is a scout rifle which has always seen some use, specifically inside of PvP, but is never quite
banned Destiny 2 in Russia. We recently reported this, and we now have an update where Destiny 2 players are apparently getting full refunds for all of the content they purchased in Destiny 2 now, which is crazy, right? It's obviously appropriate. You should get a refund if suddenly you can't play this game and all the money you've put into it, but definitely sucks for the Destiny 2 players that want to still play the game. You know, they've maybe invested thousands of hours into it. Let's start from the beginning, though, in case you didn't watch the last video. Basically, Bungie tweeted this out 2 weeks into the Witch Queen on March 9th, 2022. They said, Bungie stands with the people of Ukraine and everyone impacted by the ongoing war. Starting today, we will be working with our partners to suspend all Destiny 2 sales and commerce in Russia and Belarus. Now, the reason why they're doing this, as far as I understand, is because they don't want to be complicit in Putin's war crimes. Like, they don't want to, like, support Putin and his, you know, just war he's waging on Ukraine for seemingly no reason. And I'm not here to get into the politics of that, but I think that that's the gist of it, right? So that's the macro of it. Obviously, the micro is the Destiny 2 players, you know, they're losing their accounts and they're getting refunded, which is something we haven't really ever seen before. I mean, this is a pretty, we're entering uncharted territory, surely. So this did happen 3 years ago, but none of this has actually been implemented until just last week, when tons of people were getting on the forum saying, what the hell is going on? For a whole week now, I get to peer error. I can't log into the game. It's already been the second week and everything is the same. When will it be fixed so I can play normally? And so Bungie helped themselves literally respond to this, saying Destiny services are not available where access is restricted by law. Confused about that, perhaps, where Destiny, so is it by law? Is there a law in Russia where you can't, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm wondering what is that about? What law is there that doesn't allow Destiny services to work in Russia? I'm curious about that. Maybe some people that understand the, you know, political complexity can explain this in the comments below. But basically, this is the response that Bungie gave. But I feel like the reality is that it's because they're putting sanctions on them, right? They're choosing to remove. This is finally going in effect, is our perception of it. Bungie hasn't given us like a big article explaining what really is going on here. It's just they flipped a switch, and last Tuesday at Reset, they said no to peer error codes for everyone in Russia, or I believe it's called the CIS area. And so it's not just Russia, it's like other areas too. And that's pretty crazy, right? So now you don't get to play Destiny 2 if you're in that area unless you use a VPN. If you use a VPN, then you can still play Destiny 2. Yeah, there is no law though. This part is what I'm really curious about. I feel like this restricted by law. I don't think there is a law in Russia that's denying Destiny 2 services, you know? Like, yeah. Like, it's one thing if you don't like Gambit, but like to just put to put it in law, Gambit is illegal, you know? Like, God, I don't like Gambit, but I can't get behind that, you know? And so it's restricted by law. That's literally what Bungie is saying. I'm not sure if it's that like law. It seems like that's not accurate though. I'm not sure, but maybe it is. This is a very short message from Bungie Help, not even the original Bungie Help 3. So it is what it is. I think that this is the actual reason why. I don't know if there's a combination of the two, but that's at least, this is what Bungie said. I'm not sure, so you have to educate me. So this guy says, I recommend that you refund the game like I did. Maybe when they lose the money, they will care. And now that refund is happening. Now we have an article here says Steam is issuing full refunds for Destiny 2 Edge of Fate and Year of Prophecy Ultimate Edition. So if you didn't like the campaign and if you weren't having fun with the power grind, you're getting your money back, but only if you're in Russia. After Bungie blocked access in multiple countries. So this is the right thing. Obviously, if you deny people the ability to play the content that they paid for, you should of course give them a refund. I don't know how much this is going to be. Like, this could be a substantial amount of money. I don't know how big the gaming scene is in Russia and the CIS area. Steam has started issuing full refunds for Destiny 2 Edge of Fate and Year of Prophecy Ultimate Edition after Bungie blocked access in multiple countries with no prior warning. I guess technically this is their prior warning. This was 3 years ago. So this part of the article, they weren't very transparent about it though. Bungie did just kind of flip a switch randomly on a Tuesday reset. Over the past week, Destiny 2 players in several countries have been locked out of the game entirely, with Tapir error codes preventing them from logging in. This started quietly with complaints from players in Russia, Kazakhstan, Belarus, and other regions. So man, you guys are getting it everywhere. But it quickly grew into a bigger issue as more and more people realized that they couldn't access content that they had already paid for, which is an important element to it, right? That tweet looks like a warning, said someone in the Twitch chat. It said, starting today, we're working with our partners to suspend all Destiny 2 sales and commerce. This is a pretty strong message, I would say. Bungie's only official response so far has been a one-line sentence shared in response to the forum threads. Destiny services are not available where access is restricted by law. No actual countries were named, and no details were provided about what law this is referring to. Again, yes, we're getting right back to the root of it. This is the part I'm interested. What is this law, Bungie? What is the law that is happening here? Because as far as we know, there wasn't any law passed that banned Destiny 2, or any other game for that matter. I mean, if a law was passed in Russia, then it would affect more games than Destiny 2. Like, Destiny 2 is not that big on the radar, right? Destiny 2 is not that big on the radar. There would be a lot of other games. I feel like I would have heard about this. I could even ask ChatGPT, because ChatGPT would be smart sometimes. Is there a law in Russia banning Destiny 2? And you might think asking ChatGPT is ridiculous, but it does kind of like comb through a lot of the internet. And so, yeah, ChatGPT says, no, there is no known Russian law that outright bans Destiny 2, but there are restrictions and actions that de facto limit access or purchases. So as far as ChatGPT knows, as far as that goes, they don't know of a law. We'll find out. I mean, surely Bungie is going to update it, right? There's no law passed in Russia. Obviously there's no law passed in America, right? Like, I'm trying to think of it from both sides. There's no law in America that's like, you cannot distribute entertainment into Russia anymore. I don't know. Now we have to get deep into politics here just to make some progress on this one. At the time of writing, the block is still active. Some players have tried using workarounds like VPNs and DNS changes, but for many, the game remains unplayable. Really? So I'm curious, we asked a Russian Destiny 2 player in the chat earlier if they're able to play Destiny 2, and they said yes, they are, because of a VPN. So as long as you know how to use a VPN, I think you can still get around it. Make sure you change your location outside of Russia. So you download whatever VPN you're going to use, and then you change your location to a place where it's not banned, far away, and you'll connect to that server, and you should be able to play. However, your account inside Bungie.net might be linked to your Russian account, so I'm not sure how that all works. I'm not sure if that's like, is that even breaking terms of service? If it is breaking terms of service, I didn't say anything. I cannot be held liable for these accusations. Allegedly. I would like to call my lawyer now. Now it looks like Steam has stepped in, at least temporarily. Players who found themselves locked out of Destiny 2 have started requesting refunds, and many of those requests have been approved. Wow, okay. So if you want, at the very least, if you are a victim of the situation, you can at least request a refund from Steam, and apparently they will make good on that. Steam is refunding Destiny 2 The Edge of Fate. Over the past 24 hours, reports started showing up across Reddit and the official Bungie forums claiming that Steam is approving refund requests for Destiny 2 Edge of Fate and the Year of Prophecy Ultimate Edition. Damn. Here's the thing, what about all the other content prior to that? What about all the content that you no longer get access to for all those? I mean, I guess you did get to play that content for the whole year from start to finish, so you can't complain too much, but it is meant to be live service content, right? Like if we can get upset about sunsetting in 2020, losing Leviathan, then I think we can get upset about losing the final shape and not getting a refund, right? What makes this especially surprising is that these approvals came despite the standard Steam policy that limits refunds to users with under 2 hours of playtime. Oh, so they actually went against their own terms of service. Usually if you play the game for more than 2 hours, you're allowed a refund, or for less than 2 hours, you're allowed a refund rather. So say for example, you logged into Destiny 2, you started playing the campaign, you jumped into Matterspark, and you're like, oh hell no, I'm out of here, right? If you did so in less than 2 hours, you could have got a refund, but now you've potentially played Destiny 2 for dozens of hours. This might be merging to PlayStation and Bungie and how Helldivers wasn't allowed in certain countries, and also be political stuff. Oh, this is definitely political. Let's make no mistake of this. This is absolutely political. This is not anything other than, make no mistake, countries, and all be merging to PlayStation and Bungie and how Helldivers wasn't allowed in certain countries, and also be political stuff. Oh, this is definitely political. Let's make no mistake of this. This is absolutely political. This is not anything other than that. I mean, this is what this statement says right here. I mean, Bungie stands with the people of Ukraine and everyone impacted by the ongoing war. Starting today, we will be working with our partners to suspend all Destiny 2 sales and commerce, right? In Russia. Like, this is because they do not want to be complicit in Putin's war crimes. That's what it's all about, you know? Like, you can spin it a different way if you want. You can try to perceive it as anything else, but obviously Bungie is in the business of making money. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to sell the game. They're not trying to not sell the game to anyone. They don't hate people in Russia. What? Russian people? You know, there's nothing wrong with being someone from Russia. They feel as though if they allow Destiny 2 to function and create, you know, commerce and revenue, that in the process, they're basically complicit in allowing Russia to do what they're doing to Ukraine, right? You could call it whatever you want, you know? And I get that there's like, we're entering that realm of politics, and as soon as you go down that, it's a never-ending vacuum of craziness. So I'm not trying to get too deep down that rabbit hole, but that's what that's what they're doing. That's the macro, right? The micro is the individual Destiny 2 players are on the forums like, hey, what the hell? This is the micro. From the individual's perspective, they're like, hey, I'm just a Destiny 2 person that just happens to live in Russia. Like, this is not, like, you know, what did I do? What'd you say fuck me for, you know? So that's their perception, and that's why they're frustrated, you know? But Bungie's hope, I think, from this would be that the Destiny 2 players in Russia would redirect their frustration to the leadership and be like, you are making life in Russia hell because of what you're doing to Ukraine, you know? And so that's the goal, I think. But sometimes the frustration can be, I wouldn't say misplaced, because you have a right to feel upset at Bungie, because like you can feel how you want to feel. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to think or how to feel. That's ridiculous. But that's what Bungie's goal is, right? The game post has now verified multiple cases of full refunds being issued. In the screenshots we reviewed, players affected by the Tapir error were granted refunds to their Steam wallets even after logging dozens of hours into the game since the expansion launched. One user shared confirmation that their refund was processed within an hour of submitting the ticket. So they're on it. They're on top of it. If you're out there and you are unable to play, you can get a full refund. I don't know what you do though. Like, you could do the refund route. You can do the alleged VPN route that I'm totally not promoting in any way, shape, or form because of potential terms of service violations. I definitely did not say anything about VPN. Maybe, unless it's not against terms of service. Like 90% of people that are like hardcore Destiny players, 90% or more are just going to be like, all right, I guess I'll just pay for a VPN now, you know, like whatever. Because like, if you have thousands of hours in the game, if this is like your main game, you really like the community, you know, having that all stripped from you feels a little bit misplaced, maybe feels a little bit unnecessary, you know, from the player's perspective, right? Like, I get it from the big perspective. I get why, like, when you're looking from the top down, but when you're looking from the bottom up, it's like, man, it's tough. Here's what one player told Steam support when requesting a full refund. Since the 17th of September, logging into the game is impossible due to Tapir error, because that's been consistent. Everyone, you're getting Tapir error codes. It's because you're in the Russia CIS-based accounts. This appears to be a shadow ban of all CIS-based accounts without any notice, explanation, or anything. None of the content I purchased is accessible, and I can't do anything about it except to request a refund. There it is. Can request that refund and get your money back on that. It will be interesting to see how many refunds go through. Obviously, it will be quite a bit. This definitely is a blow to Bungie's budget to some degree, but you know, it's going to happen when you take these stances, right? And I think that they're willing to do that because I think what Bungie's trying to do is they're trying to do what they believe is the right thing to do, regardless of finance or regardless of budget. Like, you know, so that's their perception. It's worth noting, however, that the situation may already be shifting. Several players are now reporting that Steam has stopped granting refunds as of a few hours ago, though many others successfully had their requests approved as recently as yesterday. Right now, it's unclear whether Steam has pulled back on this or if refunds are still available, depending on the case. Okay, come on now. Now we got refund, no refund. What are we doing here? Bungie should come out with a formal article addressing this, detailing exactly why all of the, you know what I'm saying? This is a very short, actually, what is this right here? Hey, solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Oh, I actually do have a full article here. We'll jump into this in just a moment. For those wondering, here's everything in the Destiny 2 Year of Prophecy Ultimate Edition. $99 US dollars, that is. So you got all this content. You'll lose if you ask for a refund and you choose not to play with the VPN. Bungie, on the other hand, has not provided any update beyond its single sentence statement about restricted by law access. There's no word yet on whether players will receive official refunds through other platform holders like PlayStation or Xbox. We'll keep the story updated if Bungie or Steam makes an official statement. See, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to like mismanagement and bad PR, right? This definitely makes you look bad. We can all agree, at the very least, that, you know, silently banning everyone in Destiny 2 that's in Russia with an error code to peer with no notice at all, not giving any explanation for 8 days. After 8 days, you give a one-line sentence on the Bungie help forums that's cryptic and confusing at the least, and you have nothing set in place for people to get full refunds, which they absolutely deserve. You should not just be refunded for the Year of Prophecy. You should be refunded for every expansion you've bought lifetime. You should be refunded for every Eververse purchase lifetime. Like, just everything should be refunded to you. You had the whole game stripped out from under you for doing nothing, just because you live in the wrong country. You just, like, you had a bad RNG pull. You spawned in Russia, you know what I'm saying? And as far as we know, you can't respawn in real life, right? No one's figured that out yet. There was one guy like 2,000 years ago, but like, besides that guy, apparently no one else has figured out how to respawn. So if you're born in Russia, you're stuck there. And now you just don't get to play Destiny 2 anymore. You should get a full refund. What do you think of the situation? Oh, we got lots of thoughts on the situation. We're going to jump into this article here that they dropped in 2022 to see if there's actually more to this, because at this stage, we've only gotten this little like 2 sentences. We've got this little sentence on the forums, and then we got this article here. Okay, so this says, solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Okay, Bungie stands with the people of Ukraine and everyone impacted by the ongoing war. And that's what's crazy. This was March of 2022, and it's still going on. It's still going on. We're in September 2025. It's still going on. There was some crazy thunder that just went on outside. That was very ominous. I'm feeling, ooh, got goosebumps right now. All right. At the time of this article being published, it is reported that over 2 million Ukrainians are displaced by an ongoing invasion with no end in sight. Family, friends, homes, and communities are being lost. Terrible. Through our Bungie Foundation, we are able to use philanthropic means to express our beliefs and values through the lens of humanitarian support. Last week, the Bungie Foundation committed to donate 100% of the proceeds from the first 48 hours of their Game to Give charity initiative directly to humanitarian aid organizations in an effort to help the people impacted by this war. This is incredible. This is good. We love this. This is why we support Game to Give. Good on Bungie for this one. I know people be like, say, hey, Lucky, did you say a good thing about Bungie? They're like, hold up. They're cracking their knuckles watching this video. Look, this is a good thing. When a country wages war on you and people create initiatives to help you as the country that's getting war waged on you, you'll be thankful. You know what I'm saying? This is a good thing. This at least is a good thing. Everything else is bad. This is good, okay? A small victory in here. Players proved once again that they're guardians of the world, raising $120,000, and we cannot thank each and every donor enough for their contribution. Bungie will also continue to match our own employee donation to an additional US-based 501c3 charitable organizations. Some tax code, I don't know. These proceeds will be donated to the following 2 organizations. Okay, we got Direct Relief, okay, our most trusted and longest-standing humanitarian aid partner. Direct Relief is mobilizing a massive humanitarian response for Ukraine's most vulnerable communities with an immediate focus on treating injuries and other trauma caused by violence. They are working with the Ukrainian Ministry of Health. This is good. Like, this is, you know, the people in Ukraine are very appreciative of this, I'm sure. The people that have been affected by this. To compile emergency response packs containing IV fluids, antibiotics, tourniquets, oxygen, and more. However, they are already preparing for the near future when wide-scale displacement will lead to a host of chronic health problems. They're preparing items such as cold chain medications, maternal health supplies, and medicines to care for a wide array of infectious diseases. Okay. International Rescue Committee. As 2 million people and counting have fled Ukraine to seek safety in neighboring countries, the IRC is working to scale up support of their government and civil societies in order to provide for the basic needs of these refugees. They are also calling out continued breaches of international humanitarian law and discriminatory treatment of individuals displaced by the war, calling on the leaders of Russia to adhere to this law, especially in protection of civilians and vulnerable groups such as women and girls. Okay? Looking forward, there is more that we all can do. We encourage you to continue supporting these 2 organizations in whatever way is meaningful to you. We've also vetted some additional organizations who are doing incredible work in Ukraine and would be grateful for your support. Okay?